show rolls on here live at NFC champion LA Rams training camp, and Sean McVay joins us here on Fox Sports Radio. And I kind of tried to set give people perspective, right? 2 years ago we sat here, and you were the youngest head coach in the National Football League, and trying to say what it could look like. Now you basically one drive short, one game short from having completed the task, what anyone's goal is starting in professional sports, let alone in the National Football League. What's this last 2 years been like for you?
It's been great. You know, I think really, Doug, it's continued to reiterate that it's all about the people that are around you. And, you know, we got great players and great coaches. And really, I think, you know, you're just learning every day. I mean, the perspective that you have now 2 years later, I think you have a greater appreciation for how humbling this role can be. But I think also, you know, just having a feel for the normal work week as far as the rhythm, you know, our third training camp, I think there's a little bit more comfort in that. But each year presents new challenges. We got a new team, and it's been a good couple days to start off.
It is a new team, and I want to get to that as well as your third training camp. But this offseason was filled with coaching hires, and many of them, it felt like almost all of them had some sort of connection to you. I mean, like, you know, Cliff Kingsbury, you guys knew each other, but it's not like he worked for you. Well, what's that like to sit outside of it and watch so many people connect the dots to you? I mean, in many ways, it's out of respect for what you and your staff have been able to do. But what was that like for you?
Yeah, I think you just said it, Doug. It's out of respect for what the Rams have done. And fortunately, we've been able to have some success over the last couple of years, but it's definitely been a collaborative effort. Couldn't be happier for Matt and Zach. And then, you know, Cliff's been doing his thing on his own, you know, and we just happen to know each other. But Zach and Matt are both great coaches that I was fortunate enough to work with here that have both been instrumental pieces to what we've been able to accomplish. But I'm excited for them, and you know, it's humbling and flattering, but it is a result of the respect that they have for the Rams and some of the success we've been able to have.
You've been doing this for a long time, not just your own team, but other people's teams. But seeing as it is your shop, year 3, how are you evolving? What are you doing differently than you've done or tweaking than you've done in the past?
I think it always starts with your players first. So let's continue to identify and understand what our personnel does best, and then we fit our systems offensively and defensively to their skill sets. So add in some new pieces on defense that will enable us to do a little bit more, and some things that are specifically geared towards, you know, putting Aaron in good spots, putting Clay Matthews and Weddle. You know, you still can build around Fowler and Michael Brockers. You got Corey Littleton inside, a lot of really good DBs with our 2 corners and with John Johnson and Nikel Roby and those guys. So we feel really good about where we're at. We know we got a long way to go. And then offensively, it's making sure you study some of the things that teams were able to have success with against you. And how can you evolve? How can you make sure that you have some answers? Because there's too many good coaches and players in this league, and every year presents new challenges, and that's what we're excited about.
It is fascinating because the first year you kind of took the league by storm with so much of your tempo. And then last year, you didn't have to you didn't have to speed things up.
Sure.
You didn't have to give your quarterback so much information before the headset went off. So I think a lot of people around the league are trying to figure out, all right, what's he going to do in year 3? Year 1 was different from year 2. Year 3 must be a continued evolution. You mentioned having Eric Weddle on the back end of things.
Yep.
And here's a guy who was close to walking away, but what everyone says is, man, I mean, he's a savant back there in his ability to get everybody lined up.
Yes.
On the other hand, he's not a spring chicken. So how do you manage that? The fact that he's got to have the reps in knowing your defense and what you guys want to do. On the other hand, you want to manage his legs and manage his body because you need him for 17 weeks and then postseason, not for the preseason.
Yeah, that's the goal. Hopefully we get a chance to compete after that, Doug. But I think the biggest thing that I've really learned, one of the things being a head coach is, you know, how the sports science plays into how we really want to train and practice. And, you know, it's not exclusive to veteran players. You know, Eric's still moving around really well, and he's got a lot of explosiveness and juice left in those legs. But I think whether it's Eric, Andrew Whitworth, or even some of our players, you know, the Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Todd Gurleys, we want to make sure they're as fresh as possible. So there's a big emphasis on the above the neck, the walkthroughs, where it's not as a physical tolling, but it is above the neck information that they can process, and really, you know, the post snap things that occur. But so much of what occurs in this game is the pre-snap, and then just the first few steps as far as our techniques, our fundamentals, our communication that's entailed. And those are the things that we place a premium on. And then when we go full speed, but in you know, a little bit fewer reps than typically what I had been accustomed to before I'd been here.
What are reasonable expectations for us as fans to have of Todd Gurley? You were able, as he battled through some stuff late in the season, add CJ, and he was a godsend. but there's some school of thought that you'll never get the Gurley that we had, before the end of last year. What are reasonable expectations for Todd Gurley on a football field with you?
Yeah, our expectation is Todd to be, the same player that he's been and continue to improve like he's done over the last couple of years. Whether it's Todd or any player, we're always going to monitor that health. And, this is a very physical game, but he's feeling good. We're excited about it, and everything's really geared towards that Carolina game.
Okay, so you guys are only here a short period of time.
We are.
Then you go to Napa.
Yeah.
Then you go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Which would sound
great.
A
lot of traveling. It'd be good if we weren't actually working, but this is work, man.
Yeah,
we're going up to Napa for a business trip.
You go up to Napa, see, you're going to see Gruden.
That's right.
Your first boss.
Yeah.
And I think that'll obviously, and then you go out and you see the Cowboys.
Yep.
And of course, Zeke wants what Todd Gurley has, wants his contract.
Oh, yeah.
So you may not see him. How does that change how you manage things in that? To the fan, or maybe to the ownership group, like they can go hang out in a couple great locations,
sure.
See 3 different football teams. But to you, there's a lot of travel, a lot of other stuff, and you can't just grind and fix things and evaluate like you'd want.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is specifically going up to Napa, Doug, in a lot of ways, I think you can expect us to approach the preseason similar with the players that have played a lot of snaps that we know that are proven players in this league. Unless we feel necessary, they're probably not going to participate in the preseason. So that's why there's a premium on some of these practices where we're going to get a chance to compete against the Raiders twice, or the Chargers twice while we're out here, right, and then the Raiders twice when we go up to Napa. And if we feel like we've gotten the work necessary, then that can really almost serve as some of the preseason work in a little bit more of a controlled setting. When we go out to Dallas, that'll be a great chance in our second preseason game for some of our younger players to get a chance to play against, a division winner, a playoff team, and a team we saw last year. So a lot of great opportunities, but you're right, man. It is a business trip, and those are fun places to go in the offseason, but we're in season mode now.
You know how it works in this league. Jared Goff goes from bust to incredible to some people being a little bit out on what his ceiling is. There were a couple big boy drives he had in the game that went against the Saints that got you to the Super Bowl.
No question.
So he showed he has the lower intestinal fortitude to do the job, if you will. What are you expecting the next step to be? What does he need to do to take that next step to be among the league's elites for this franchise to continue to count on him more and more?
Yeah, I think just continue to improve and do what he's done over the last couple of years. The experience that he's gaining in terms of just the Rolodex of reps that he can accumulate from seeing different defensive structures, and then how he can kind of pocket that in his memory bank and learn from it. I thought he did an outstanding job from year 1 to year 2, and then I sense an even more confident player that knows exactly what's going on. He's got a great ownership of what we're trying to do, Doug, and in terms of just physically, he's grown up. He looks stronger. He's twitchier up top. He's able to make all the throws. I mean, you see why he's the number 1 overall pick, but I think anybody that's really watching the film and knows what's going on in this league knows he's the real deal, and we feel really good about him being our quarterback.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown, I believe is the Shakespearean quote, right? Now you guys are NFC champions, right? From having a lot of talent, and then last year, Les and the group, you guys went for it and got some guys on 1-year deals, and it worked. Whether or not it worked in the Super Bowl or not, that doesn't. You got to the Super Bowl, you won the NFC. How much different do you think and difficult do you think the road will be because you won the NFC, because you actually got to the big game?
I think every year is. And, I mean, everybody talks about a tough schedule. Every year is a tough schedule, in my opinion. There's 31 other teams that feel really good right now, Doug. And for us, it's just about producing in the present. And our players know that. We have high expectations. We don't shy away from that. But the only way you even give yourself a chance to achieve those kind of goals are by winning one day at a time, and then, putting ourselves in a position to hopefully start 1-0 against the Panthers. And, the confidence, the swagger, our players know that's earned every single day. We feel really good about our players knowing that, it's a one day at a time mindset and mentality, but there's a lot of belief and confidence, but it's something that you got to earn every day.
Well, you have earned the respect of the league and then of the fans that follow the league. Thanks so much for spending some time with us here.
I appreciate it. It's a yearly routine now.
Yeah, it really is. Sean McVay, the head coach of the NFC champions, the LA Rams, joining us here on Fox Sports Radio. Hi, I'm Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports Radio, and you need to subscribe to the Fox Sports Radio YouTube channel where you can hear and see me. Why not? Plus, everybody else who's awesome here on Fox Sports Radio.